we're going to get started with some competition footage from this past Saturday. We had a number of our students go out. We had 4 of the adults and I think 6 kids. So I grabbed what I could from my phone and a few of the other competitors, and we're gonna go over that now. So let's see. We're gonna start off. Oh yeah, since it didn't pop up the first time, here's your fancy new, long-awaited Us emote. So have fun with that. Of course, you can only use our emotes if you're a subscriber. So use your Twitch Prime. We appreciate that. Sorry, hold on. I'm all out of sorts today. These updates coming through. Okay, cool. Let's get started. So first up, we got Braden. So Braden was in, I can't remember what weight, intermediate, no gi, there's age bracket, all that good stuff. He had 2 opponents. This was his first match. Really, really nice go behind. I'll slow this down just a little. So the girl comes out reaching pretty far. You know, we see wide open elbows, which I think everybody here knows. How do you say it? 86 to 95 pounds. Okay, there we go. I knew it was up around there. I just didn't want to get the numbers wrong. As in Japanese is asul, I assume. I don't know. So our opponent here reaches out pretty far, leaves her elbows wide open. It gives Braden a nice gap to hit a smooth little duck under. He quickly shoots around the back. I like that leading, you know, he sends his head through, leads with his trailing leg, steps up, big step towards her foot, swings himself 90 degrees, and uses his momentum to impart some momentum on her and get her down. The only thing I had to yell here at you, Braden, was to get your hooks in. She turtled up pretty quickly, which made it a little difficult to do. But the saving grace here is that you immediately sank in the strangle with your right arm. You know, I think if she was able to heist her hips up and kind of roll you off of her back, you may have lost the strangle if you went to your back, like if you did a forward roll. But I think, you know, from my vantage point, you really kind of put on the strangle here. You can see her, you know, nearing the tap at this point. I assume it. I thought in the moment that it was like a short choke, like maybe you had the gable grip on this one. But by the look of it, I don't know. You could tell me, Braden, if you had like a full-on rear naked choke grip or what that was. But young lady was a little taken off guard there. Came up holding her throat. Might have been a little bit of a trachea choke there, but either way, got it in 20 seconds. So really, really good job. He weighs 101 tonight. Love it. All right, so then on to the next match. This one was going to be an exciting one. We saw ahead of time that his opponent here had, I believe, a record on Smooth Comp or something of 54-3. Why he was in intermediate, I'm not entirely sure, but this definitely shaped up to be one of Braden's toughest matches I think I've seen him in. So the kid sits to guard immediately. And immediately Braden tries that rolling Kimura. Let's see, what went wrong here with the rolling Kimura is, well, your opponent, to his credit, rolled up with it. Had he not done that, you would have found yourself in a position similar to where you see us when you go for it at the school. But he was game for it, rolled up into a top half guard. Didn't fully have his hand protected here though. So he was in some trouble the whole time. That's why, you know, he didn't get any, not that he really passed, but he didn't get any points for like top position or anything crazy like that. And then as you come up, as you recover from that attempt on mount, which I love that you did by using that grip and pushing it into his stomach and into his chest, you managed to come up on top, settle into this kind of like single butterfly guard, He puts you in half guard, and then tries this Ezekiel strangle from bottom, which this had me a little worried at the time because I don't think you've seen this too much. I can't picture a time, or I can't think of a time when anybody's pulled this on you in class, at least that I've been there. But you handled it well, driving up into the strangle. I saw you attacking the elbow at one point, just trying to like pry his grip off. Here you're attacking the end of the lever. It's excellent. And then it's just a matter of, all right, when is he going to realize it's not doing anything? Kind of a la Craig Jones, Kanan Duarte from ADCC this past year. So now he doesn't have an underhook. You have the opportunity to go for an underhook here, but he's on deep half. And I believe I'm screaming at you right now to crossface him because you were in danger here of getting taken off balance. So you really start focusing on the crossface. Now he has the underhook, which is a bit of a problem. You set in a good whizzer, settle back into close guard. And then naturally, I think everybody knows what I'm calling for at this point. Talk about getting to the standing guard break, which I think is something I want to make some of the competition kids work a bit more. I know I saw Luke's boys caught in close guard for a bit. What you're doing right now is kind of like a log splitter approach, which, you know, it's not bad. I have my reasons. I think I made my case plenty of times for favoring a standing guard break. This is where it gets fun. So he's sitting on his butt, you know, seated guard, standing opponent. One thing I think we've all been told by Coach Luke is talking about getting our opponent down to a hip, you know, or getting them onto their back, disrupting their base. Yeah, absolutely nuts. So one way we get people to their base is we give them a head push. Looking at this now, you know, the kid went with it. So the problem he had with it was I think he took it a little personally. And he retaliates, and he retaliates again. And here's the thing, his coach said to me after the match that he kind of questioned the penalty. You know, Braden did it with intention here to put the kid on his back. It can be a little touchy as far as like, you know, whether or not you do it hard. Look at my match at the last competition where the kid slapped me in the neck, right? It was no penalty for him. It was a hard collar tie. Similar kind of concept here. So you tap him in the head, he hits you back. He goes to hit you back again, and the ref says, no, we're not playing that game, and he gives him a penalty. So now we're 0-0, and he is down by penalty. Again, you're pushing him to his back. I don't really see anything malicious here. His coach yells, we need you to work. You're down on a penalty. Got to get the takedown. I don't think he was ready for your stand-up game, though. So you did a good job stuffing the takedown there. He couldn't get you... He couldn't get your arms extended well at that point. He didn't really have any good connection on you. And I love the throw by with the legs to expose the back, which you quickly swim in on. And you almost had something there. That was a really, really great attempt. This kid is just extremely, one, he wasn't the least bit tired. He was pretty fresh for this match. And two, he's a great competitor. He's absolutely like really nimble, really agile. This was like one of my favorite moments. The snap down, just through the earth. Now I was questioned by, I think I don't know if it was Kurt or somebody else watching, you know, why you didn't get points in this position. You would pass his guard, you know. One, I think in Newbreed, you don't get takedown points if it's initiated from a snap down. So that's not going to get you two. And then two, because he hit this nothing triangle on your head, it could be seen as like, I don't know, like an attempt at guard or a way that you haven't fully passed the guard yet. So he gets not credit, but he prevents you from getting 2 points for that. So time is called right there. It's 0-0, 0-0 draw. Kid was down on a penalty, so Braden won that match. And again, that was like super entertaining, extremely hard fought, and well-deserved win. And honestly, I know everybody in the chat's probably pretty biased, but I would say you controlled most of the action in that match. Kind of a consequence of, you know, when you sit to guard like that kid did, you better have a pretty active seated game, looking for sweeps, looking for leg locks, which you guys couldn't do. So it definitely went in your favor, I think. Lone Ranger, yeah, man. I think Mike's on his way back from a trip, and Luke may join us later. I don't know. I have the Discord open, so they might chime in. Next up, we got Gavin. So Gavin was in this bracket with only this kid, so it was going to be a best 2 out of 3 match. Let me just say also, I was filming and coaching, which I think any of you, if you've done it, you know how difficult it is, even filming alone. So this might go out of frame a little bit from here, from time to time. That was sick. Let's look at that again. So kid goes down for the knee pick, but leaves his elbow up way, way high. This is what I talk about with you guys when we go for ankle picks in class, for instance. I always make it a point when I'm going around to tell you guys, with that collar tie, that elbow, your elbow stays as tight to your ribs as it can. When you lower your level to pick the ankle, that elbow doesn't extend away from your ribs at all. This is an example of somebody breaking that rule, right? This kid has gone in to grab the single leg on the knee, but he leaves his elbow wide open, and that lets Gavin throw him by really, really nicely. I mean, I want to look at that in slow-mo. That was great. Just get off me, right? Big push on the elbow. So much so that the kid falls over. So really, really great. And then he establishes his guard. Now, why you weren't awarded 2 points right away? Were you? Because kid initiates the pull, you put him down, you end up in his guard. Maybe I don't know the rules well. Maybe the ref doesn't know the rules well, but I would say that's a 2-point takedown. Now we're looking for our guard breaking. So doing good to control the one arm, getting a little off balance here. This kid looks like he's pretty comfortable working from guard too, so you can't really you can't chill with somebody like that. You know, he's immediately looking to fight arms. He's looking for 2-on-1 connections, pulling up your arm across or opening it up from the body. So this kid had a plan for when he was there. But he opened his legs and you took advantage. Great pass. And a good guard from your opponent. Okay, that was an advantage. That was slick. I really like the awareness here. As you pull or as you are dealing with his open guard, you kind of knee staple with your left and then come up the rear with your right knee. And then heavy, heavy chest pressure to get that guard pass. He about had you rolled there, and you managed to counterbalance yourself really well. So 2 points or 3 points on the guard pass, I think. And then excellent mount or attempt to mount. He catches your ankle there, but you're driving up with heavy shoulder pressure. You have this far side underhook. Leading with the knee, he was just able to capture your ankle, which that happens to all of us. It's a difficult thing to deal with. I think you were maybe going for the roll you hit on me the other day. Yeah, it looked like you were going for the ninja roll there. And I imagine at this point I was yelling the same stuff to you. You're in guard. Let's work on getting arms isolated or across the body. Here you take this push-pull triangle. This is like the first triangle I feel like everybody learns when they go over this. You grab one wrist or grab the wrist with same side wrist grips, push one into the hips, pull the other one away, and the arm that gets pushed into the hips, you throw the leg over and set up your triangle. Yeah, no doubt, man. This kid's guard is really good. I mean, between him and the last opponent, you guys definitely went up against some tough matchups that day. Here, you get to or it looks like you were going for a triangle, but then you end up switching on this arm bar. More of a triangle arm bar, really. That was great. Let's look at that one more time. So you hit the push-pull triangle entry. You cut your angle very well. You know, this kid had an opportunity, I would say, to start getting out of this before your legs locked up. But by the time you got to here, I don't think you really knew how to handle this. So now I love this switch. You take it right over the correct hip. You're breaking, since you have a triangle in the arm bar, you're gonna break his right arm over your left hip. If you had a regular arm bar, you've heard me say it countless times over the last few weeks. Regular arm bar, right arm, right hip. Triangle, right arm, left hip. So really, really good switch here. I love the two-hand grip, the push and the pull. The kid's arm is definitely bent. I think the ref was concerned and called it for him before he let it break. So that was an arm bar on his right arm. Then we got a little bit of a rest time. Back to the rematch. So now we know this kid's got a great guard. He knows that you have a dangerous arm bar. Let's see how adjustments are made. Working the pass from half guard. It's good. You got the cross face, and you're not using an underhook. Instead, you're using your arm to try to get your knee free, which I'm totally fine with as long as you're putting heavy pressure right on the side of his face. So really, really good there. Slowly climbing up. But I think we all know just how difficult it could be to get the last little bit of your ankle out of there. Excellent arm control. Like, this was great. Just spider walking the arm up. Right at the elbow. He can't slip it. You're working with the most leverage you can. Then just throwing it by into this great arm triangle. Get the dismount. And I believe you got, let's see, you got points for the mount, and then I imagine this probably got you an advantage. I would hope. Very good composure there to keep him from taking your back. Yeah, you got your advantage point there for the near sub. That kid's probably pretty bummed right now. He about had your back, which would have been a dangerous spot. Fortunately, we didn't have to figure out how to handle his back. He's really looking for the sweep right now, and you got a great base. Just pinning him, completely putting him on his back, making it difficult for him to utilize any of those grips he was establishing on your ankle. I mean, everything about this, like, I love this tighter pressure passing you're using. It's something I like. I mean, any of the adults could stand to pick from, right? You're completely controlling his head. I don't see an underhook here, which obviously would be better, but this kid doesn't have a very useful underhook himself right now with the position he's in. But with, you know, the fact that you don't have the underhook, you've got the crossface on one side and your head on this side, so you have his head isolated, and you're using your arm to open up his legs and complete your pass. So you've taken the time to establish a good base, and now you're doing everything you can with the free limbs that you have to pass the guard. So really, really great work. Way to adapt to not having the underhook. Now we're settling into Kesa. Check to see how you're blowing him out of the water on the score. I think does he get a sweep there? Negative. Actually, let me take a look at that sweep real quick. So, yeah, he just kind of snuck out the back here, was able to heist his hips above yours. This is purely a case of hip height winning. So it's, you know, he gets your knees to the ground and your chest pointed to the ground, and he can heist up on his hips and take top position. So a little bit of off balancing there from him to get you on the bottom position. Good to establish guard if that's where you're more comfortable from playing. I think based on the last match, establishing guard is a great idea. Now you go right into the same push-pull triangle again. You cut your angle, and oh, I hope I didn't miss it. I couldn't have seen it anyway, just because of the way you guys were facing, and it's the exact same result. The kid could not adapt. He didn't have an answer to it. You hit him with the same triangle setup. You hit the angle on the same arm, and the ref said, "No mas, we're calling it." So that was super awesome. I love seeing that. Broke that kid's heart. Yeah, I love how you pretty much dominated every single position of that match, and really, like I think I told you afterwards. Yeah, I think you were a little bummed with your performance at the time, just because like maybe you didn't hit some stuff you wanted to hit, but you hit the same thing the exact way on the exact arm twice in a row, and kid didn't have any answers for it. And that's and that kid was no slouch. I think we all can agree that that dude's guard was really good. So a game opponent, you guys bested both of them. So congratulations to the Walkers. That was some excellent jiu-jitsu. Let's see, moving on. We're gonna look at Josh. And just want to say, none of you ever better compete sleeveless as long as you're at our school. I don't care what's on your sleeves. It could be pink leopard print. I don't care. You're just not going to do it sleeveless. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Gavin's shoulder pressure in that match especially was crucial to all of the positional advancement that he was making. So that was really well done, really well utilized. The cutoff is sick as in disgusting, in my opinion. I don't want your hairy armpits, hairy, sweaty armpits all over me. So we gotta make this guy learn. Throw him in the washing machine here for a second, take him for a spin. Poor shot on his part. Pantless, I don't care. You could grapple pantless if you want. I don't know if Newbreed will let you, but just not sleeveless. Have some dignity. This guy just took a really poor shot. One more time. Lowered his level. Josh a little late. Well, I don't even want to say that. He took the shot and stood up immediately as you were trying to set up your front headlock. But then I think as you opened up your arm, he tried to go down again for another single, and with your arm over the head like that, you were able to take him, basically a snap down without the snap. So you could weigh heavily on him and get him down. And I was talking with Mike about this. We've seen you in your matches do really well when people try to take you down. I think you have some really good counter stand-up, certainly for your level. So that's going to be, maybe something you could toy around with. I don't want to encourage you to bait takedowns and stuff like that, but people have a pretty difficult time, it seems, unless they're awesome wrestlers, having the ability to take you down. So you've settled into mount here, really focusing on airing out his armpit. Again, never compete sleeveless. Doing a good job isolating the arm, and he was just able to get his guard back. Now, I can't remember, Josh, if you had leg locks in your rule set, if you were able to do straight ankles or not. If you were, remind me. I don't know. What's up, James? How you doing, bro? I think that's currently feel more comfortable with more defensive play. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. you know, I would say in the future, like as you progress, definitely start to look at building a more offensive stand-up game. But for now, especially at competition, when you've got 3-minute or, well, I guess you had 4-minute matches, you know, it's fine to maybe let the other guy try to take you down. If he sits to guard, you definitely want to know how to handle that too. Okay, so you could have gone for straight ankles. Okay, I was just curious. When you were standing there, it looked like you were considering it rather than the guard pass. Enlightened immigration. Good luck, man. Thanks for tuning in while you handle Thai bureaucracy. How did that sweep happen? Okay, so you're on the back. I think you got maybe an advantage. Because you don't have the hook in. I don't think you got points for that. So now if you in close guard, this is where you want to look for pulling with your knees, getting him off balance. Nice hip bump. There we go. I think I had to take off at this point to go coach one of the kids, so I missed the second half of this match. Got the sweep with the hip bump, disengaged for a standing position. And then easy pass. You just fell right by his legs there. I think your opponent's starting to get a little tired. So now if you had this arm underneath his arm, like if we couldn't see your huge biceps right now because it was woven under his left arm and then around his head, you would have a setup for an arm triangle here. I don't know if it would have been just as easy as that to get that in. He's kind of, okay, he's pushed on your leg, so it may not have been super easy to just swim that in. Good knee cut to prevent the re-guard. One more time. That's nice. Wedged it right in with a little bit of a hip switch and then just stepped over and continued to pass. This guy's escapes aren't terrible either. Like he's moving well when he needs to move. You're not leaving anything out for him to isolate though, which is really good. Looks like he's trying to get a little frisky there, pushing you a bit, goes in for a head tap and then a shot. That's kind of a classic like 101 double leg setup. And like I said before, you just weren't having it, and now you got him in a north-south. Nice. Hooks in. Where are the points? There we go. And now anything below the eyes is the neck. Oh, okay, that went to time. Good thing that went to time because he was in some trouble there. And I forgot what the score was of this match, but I know you ran it up pretty good. More counter wrestling here, and in fact I don't even know, come on, let's adjust. I wouldn't even necessarily call that counter wrestling. Again, you don't necessarily get points for snap downs or takedowns that come from snap downs, but here look how much you've got his posture broken. His spine is rounded, he's looking right at the mat, your chest is directly over the back of his head. You're in control here, so really good offensive approach this time. I think from there he was probably looking to shoot in on a last ditch single or double, which I think we've seen plenty of times in class, just doesn't really work very well. Certainly not when your head is that far out in front of your hips. Chin strap grip. And then for like Josh and any other white belts or people who don't compete frequently enough, it looks like you do it here, I assume. When you get stopped, you make damn sure when you get reset in the middle, you have every single grip that you had when the ref stopped you, and argue it. And if you don't, you hopefully we see what you had, but you earn those grips. You don't give them up. So keep that in mind if you're ever in that position. That guy could not get on your leg for the life of him. So we're losing the back here a little bit. I wish I could see what grip you had set up here. I assume, it must have been, you tell me, Josh, that must have been basically a rear naked strangle. You're just still, you're very much off axis. The kid, or the guy didn't really have an escape path from there as far as he saw it, so. Good stuff. Quick work. You had the deepest rear naked choke. Okay, stand corrected. Let's see that. Close to, yeah. Yeah, that would, the end to your first match would have been fun to watch that guy get his face put in the vise. So I was watching this from across the mat between some other matches, and I think this is the first case we saw of the stand-up game not going in your way. I haven't watched this whole match yet, so this one will be new to me. Sprawl. A lot of upper body work going on from the two of you here. Curious if he has any intention of hitting singles or doubles. He's kind of looking down at your chest, or not quite looking at your feet, which is sometimes a tell. One thing with your grips here, so let's see if I can find a good example. So right here, you go for an overtie, which is fine, but you kind of have to blade your body. So like, I would want to see your left shoulder moving forward to establish a better grip on his neck, while also driving your shoulder into the screen right now to kind of put stress on the grip he has on your neck. You don't just want to overtie from straight on. You need to kind of turn into it a little bit. And then, yeah, like the hand on the bicep right now, probably not doing too much. We're looking at like a frame in a flurry of motion right now. But think about instead putting your hand, instead of grabbing the arm, put it under their elbow, and then you can duck out of it. You're not going to be able to easily lift his arm up and move it, but you can hold it where it is as you change your level, and then either back out or go to the side or even take a shot at that point. So aim for the elbow as opposed to gripping on that bicep. That's not going to do a whole hell of a lot, and it may even give him an opportunity to raise your own arm up, and then he hits a go behind or a duck under, like we saw Braden do in his first match. So now he goes in, picks the knee, and gets you down. Looks like, so that was a flurry of some upper body gripping there. He hits a poor trip, but I think he gets your base opened up from that trip long enough for him to feel confident on hitting that knee pick. Cole, if you were a subscriber, you would have access to the brand new boss emote. Just FYI. And to anybody watching, give us your Twitch Prime if you want to support the sub and use the dumbest emote in the world. Alright, so let me go back a little bit. Alright, so you throw up this triangle threat immediately. I didn't notice that at first. So his defense is to stack you on this. Or that's the defense he's using. Not necessarily the best one. So I don't know, Josh, you tell me how much experience you feel like you have had setting up and finishing triangles. Dude has Mad Dog tattooed on his calf. Because you're right there. You're in a good position to throw up a good attack. Yeah, I see you trying to you tried to cut the angle here. The first part of this is going to be controlling his posture. This leg's a little too low. Like it definitely, you want to have your ankles crossed. You know, you could control his collar tie. Honestly, the angle would come way later after you set up the control of the posture, which is, I think that's where you went wrong here. You know, you need that long before you get to here. Right now you've got legs open. Not that your legs can't be open here, but like your knee, this knee is in the wrong position. Not going to help you out any. So we could work on that too. You could throw some triangles into your arsenal, and all of a sudden you'll have a dangerous sub with your upper body, and one with your lower body. And in case you get put into, you know, close guard again, or, you know, in case you get taken down and set up your close guard again, you'll have an immediate threat that you could play from there. So now you're in this like open guard, the single butterfly position. Curious what his intentions are. Can't really tell. He seems to kind of just drive into you, which is really just loading himself up. And for what it's worth, I mean, I think this is the beginner bracket, or whatever Newbreed calls it. I think they call it beginner, and they don't have novice and beginner. So I think you're going to deal with guys who are 0 to 6 months into training, I believe is their cutoff, if they follow the rules when they sign up. So we're not going to see, I highly doubt we'll see much technical advancement from him here. It looks like he's really trying to pressure into you and then take advantage of open legs as they come, rather than opening them up himself, or using any technical half guard passing. Here he slips the knee, and at this point he's pretty much past. Like he's just got to drive forward into like a baseball slide. He's got the far side underhook and the crossface. So a bit of he gets you here with a takedown and positional advancement. That was a good pass to mount. See what you could have done better too. Like in preventing this, the way you're turning away right now, even though your knee is up, he just has to find a little tiny bit of space for his knee to penetrate over your hip. So as you're turning away, you're kind of taking away your opportunity to turn towards him and reestablish a frame. And again, I think I've called this out a few times. This close connection over the back, not doing you any favors. You're not attempting to establish frames. I'd rather see this arm framing underneath the hips, this arm framing in front of the shoulders, and then that way when he picks his hips up the way he has, if your knees were pointed more vertically or in the other direction, there's a whole lot of space created, and you're facing him at that point to where you can start to reestablish your guard. So gotta break the instinct to like hug on that shoulder. you hear us talking about shoulder crunch sweeps. There is no shoulder crunch sweep here. That only works when you have a guard in place. You need at least like a butterfly hook to finish your shoulder crunch sweep. You're not going to hit it from side control. So now he establishes mounts, and it looks like he has the intention of maybe hitting an Americana. He's looking at the clock, wondering when this is going to end. And he dismounts. Okay. I guess that was time. So really that was just consequence of positional control on his part, advancing, all that stuff. So I didn't see a single opportunity for him to submit you, or at least any that he was creating or near creating. So good defense on your end as far as preventing any sort of easy submission. It's normally what you see in some of the beginner divisions. So really good there. Now we just have to work on maybe getting you a bit more familiar with triangles and some of the finishing mechanics, if that's something you're interested in. And then, yeah, just good positional escaping, which any white belt at the school who has asked me what they should be working on, that's without even thinking about it, I don't have to roll with you. I don't need to know you. You're a white belt. You need to focus on positional escapes and submission escapes later, but largely being able to handle those pins and re-guard or sweep later on, maybe getting to submissions from there. So overall, that was really good. I think you took silver, if I recall. On to Austin. Austin. Is Austin even in the chat? Are you with us tonight, buddy? I don't know who's in there anymore. I don't see him. Whatever. Do this for you guys and you can't even show up. All right, so this is maybe one of my favorite matches. Certainly not Austin's favorite. So immediately into guard, if this opponent guessed just by Austin's body type, he should know that he's in some triangle trouble here. Austin's getting to work doing what he knows how to do. Riding up to a very high close guard. Now he's looking to, besides the quick double ankle attempt, he's looking to get an arm out and isolate the head and arm, which he does. Let's get that one more time. When did that happen? So this is why I drill you guys on the standing guard break in the exact way that I do it. When you want to break somebody's guard, and I'm strictly speaking for the standing guard break, you first need your posture. Guy can't have any control over your neck. So Austin has that here. This kid's posture is totally broken. He's completely overextended, and he reaches back for the knees. You guys know if you do the standing guard break, it gets to a point where pressuring on the knees is exactly what you want to do, and that helps break the ankles open. When you don't want to do that is when your posture's broken and you don't have any control over it, because that means an arm is or a leg is gonna swing over your shoulder and get your arm out of the picture. That's why we don't reach back when we're in a lower position. When I'm standing, this can't happen, right? You're not gonna sneak your leg over top of my shoulder in an upright position. And I should clarify that. I don't mean standing and totally bent over 90 degrees. I mean standing completely upright. You can still be put in a triangle if your opponent, has double wrist grips and pulls you down. You're standing on your feet, but you're hinged at your hips. There's a good chance that you can get put in a triangle. So this kid messes up there, and that's what gives Austin his opportunity to hit his triangle. Had he instead been pressing his his hands into Austin's biceps and clearing this collar tie, that would have allowed him to stand up to an upright position and break the closed guard open and avoid this. So this is, I think any of us know just how tight this is right now. This kid is in a world of trouble at the moment, but he's not tapping as soon as many others would. Austin comes up to a mounted triangle, tries to hit the arm bar briefly, but focuses on his balance and his base. Super frustrating to watch. This was probably the start of when my voice began to go. And that was a slick little escape he did. That was, a variation on the step over escape, largely just because there's this extra roll in here. I would probably advise this kid, I don't want to say. Normally, I feel like normally you want to step over with the other leg first. I feel like stepping over with this leg can leave you open to an armbar still. In any case, steps over, gets the roll, gets the other leg in, extends his body. Fortunately for Austin, he didn't know how to turn that into a leg entanglement, which is very easy to do there. So really tight triangle, really, really great threat. And now he knows that he can't mess around too much against Austin and his triangle. They should, man. I feel like they could learn a lot from Austin too. What he's good at, he's very good at. And I think the boys can definitely steal some of his skills. Using the body triangle on someone in your close guard. Never knew you could do that until Brooke did it to me. And I still don't think I've ever done it to anybody. So same situation here. I think the guy got his arm a little too close to the legs again, and now Austin goes up for a triangle again. And again, it's a very deep one. The fact that this guy did not tap to the first one and is not tapping to this one is a testament to his own grit. Austin going for the belly down armbar. And the kid manages to slip out. And I think he slipped out of that most likely because Austin probably put a lot into that first triangle, burnt up his legs a little bit, put everything else he had into that second triangle. And now, since the kid outlasted it, now Austin's having to deal with a little bit of a gas tank issue. I think he got called for stalling there, the other opponent. So Austin turtling up and then looking to regard here with a roll through. And then at this point, because Austin mentioned it to me earlier in the day, I started yelling at him to try to throw up the buggy choke because he's the only one I know who can. But I think he was either getting at least one ear is blocked right now. I don't think he could get to the buggy anyway. Starts looking for the shoulder push, but the guy's weight is a little too high up. It's over his shoulder line. Not as effective as when it's down at the hips. And then Austin put into the Kimura, rolled over with it, and the guy steps over and gets the finish here. That was solid finishing mechanics from his opponent. The step over the head is really important there. Austin just didn't have the fight left after the first two initial extremely deep triangles to take care of that one. So That one was a tiring match. Um, Definitely lit a fire underneath him, though. Nothing makes you wake up like losing. So we even got a chance to, or Austin got a chance to talk to the kid after that match, or after all of his matches. Asked him if that triangle was even good, and the kid was like, "Dude, you know those triangles were tight." There was no doubt that they were tight. So good feedback from his opponent. The only thing, while I'm thinking about it, I believe I talked about this with him later. The way, something he could have done here, let me find a good spot. Something he could have done here to tighten up these triangles is, you know, we think about when we get to a position like this, where we have, you know, the locking leg in the right spot, we pull our heel to our butt, everything seems good, but for whatever reason, our opponent's not tapping. Maybe they have enough of their shoulder in, you know, maybe they've turned their head a certain way, maybe they got a skinny neck, right? Like anything, there could be all number of things that can disrupt that. But if we think about not having our legs totally perpendicular, but having them closer to parallel, and doing a kind of motion like when we ride a bike, and our legs kind of are in that shearing relative position, right? One leg is driving into the neck, the other like one leg is pulling into the neck, the other leg is pushing into the neck. That can add just enough extra force contact if it's not there, or if it's compromised for some reason. That can add to the triangle a little bit. And might be what you need to pull off the finish. And then the other criticism I had for him here was the first one, not so much. The opportunity didn't present itself as cleanly. Maybe, yeah. I mean, Austin sets up his angle and then gets stacked. So what I'm alluding to is the kid's putting an armbar on the kid with the threat of the triangle. I would say here, this is where you want to start thinking about adding in the immediate armbar threat when you've done like a really solid triangle and it hasn't worked. So Austin, I think for you, practicing setting up your triangles, like you know how to get there, and we know you know how to finish them. I think a good thing for you to practice for the near future is setting up your triangle and then immediately attacking the armbar. Purely using the triangle as control, and then immediately going on attack with the armbar. You had the other opportunity here. I think you briefly went belly down, like, yeah, right here. And I know you were looking for it here. I know it's in your head. It's just going to be a matter of ironing that out. I don't think you've had to worry about those quite as much in training with the success you've had from your triangle. So let's tighten that one up and make your triangles that much more dangerous. On to the second match. A little more leg meat, that's right. Yeah, do some squats. Talk to Josh, Cole, or just me, you know. Pulling to guard. And then, let's see. I forgot which finish this was. So again, here, his opponent going to a standing position doesn't get upright. This is not a standing guard break. This is a triangle entry. And look how easily Austin does it. Austin doesn't even have grips. Okay, his opponent has the grips right now. But he lets his opponent push his arm away because it opens his own arm up and lets Austin just pull the leg right out, completely unimpeded, and set up a super easy triangle. This is why, or he about sets it up. Maybe he didn't get it. This is why you need to, or did he? Is it there? No, okay, he got his arm over. Now it's there. Before I prattle on anymore. He did the same exact entry. Okay, now Austin has the grip. All right. This is a little less embarrassing for his opponent then. So Austin pushes the arm away and gets his legs in the triangle configuration. But again, all the more reason to focus on your base when you guys get to standing. or not just your base, your posture rather. You're already up on your feet. You need to get to an upright position. Otherwise, you'll get triangled or just brought back down. So now, I don't think Austin wanted to lose another triangle. No, I didn't want him to. Starts enveloping everything, trying to get the upper body into it, to get the squeeze. Dude's about to tap. Competition's a little different, man. I don't see any of you holding out on triangles against Austin in the training room like his last two opponents have. Sometimes, man, they might not know how to get out of it, but they'll make you earn it if you're gonna finish it. As soon as I saw his hands come apart when I was coaching, I was like, please, please, please don't let go of this. So this is a good example to some of our younger students that I was talking about, trusting the choke. Austin knew he had this. He knew he had the other two, in all fairness. I think that opponent had better escapes than this one. But Austin knew what he had, and he didn't want to let it go. And then now for bronze medal. This is the bronze medal match. And this was a case of actually earning the bronze medal, not just getting it because you're the third person in a 3-man bracket. This bracket was pretty full. I think there were like 5, maybe 6 people. So into this single butterfly guard to an attempted gogoplata, which I did not have on my Newbreed bingo card that day when I woke up. I don't even think I tried to coach him through it. I just saw him going for it. I'm like, all right, man, do you? He gets the foot in position even, and his opponent starts to posture up out of it and try to turn his head out. And he gets out of it, but love to see that getting thrown up. Never have I seen somebody want to hit a heel hook so badly and know that they couldn't. Look at that grip. Goes for it. Nope, can't. But he can hit straight ankles. So now it's a matter of getting his opponent off balance and isolating the leg, which he does. Slips in the straight ankle grip. And another nuance to Newbreed here is that you need to attack the straight ankle on the downside, basically. If Austin rolled in the other direction, essentially trapping the free leg with his own body weight, that would be an illegal straight ankle, and he would have gotten DQ'd for that. So it was very important that he finished the straight ankle on the side on which he is attacking it. It's a stupid rule, but it's the rule. So really, really great finish. Kid knew he got caught right away. So great adjustment. That was the first non-triangle submission Austin has had in competition. Fun fact. So yeah, big thing for you, Austin, coming out of those is not to abandon the stuff that we know you're good at. I think people they think, all right, I got a good sub. Let me learn some other stuff. You've been awesome at continually honing your triangle skills, and that's what you're gonna have to do with this one. So now we're gonna, we want to look to shore up your triangle armbar dilemma. Also strengthen the, look at ways of strengthening the strangle in the actual triangle itself. Other than that, I can't say I have too much to criticize. Next, on to Caleb. I don't know if Caleb's in the chat either, so hopefully he sees us. So Caleb actually competed against this guy's brother at the last competition and took the L on that one. So I know he was coming in hungry for this match and wanted to get the W. So Caleb getting a little taste of his own medicine on the over/under tossing that he likes to do. His opponent took advantage on that one. Got him off balance enough, and was able to keep him. I don't think there was any real footwork in that. It was all upper body. So gets a takedown, gets to out of bounds, gets reset. Doing a good job here trying to establish frames. You know, it's one thing when I'm pinning you for 6 minutes in training, Caleb. It's another thing when, you know, damn near two of me are pinning you in training. All the more reason for Luke to smash you more, so you can feel, not that Luke's as big as this guy, but you need to feel heavier opponents than me. You're doing a good job framing, turtling up to avoid giving up points, and then now working your Maki Komi. Again, I was not happy to see it fail for you there, but I could only laugh inside, knowing that I would be doing the same thing if I tried to do this to you, and you would just shut it down. the look when he gets up. Yes, sir. How you doing, Mango? Good to see you, man. Yeah, and you know, to that point, Mango, you know, I think a lot of us get a little too shy with our framing. There are some techniques that I don't want to say are dirty or like borderline or anything like that, but even in training, like in the training room with you guys, you know, if you get a position on me and I know that if I get my palm underneath your chin and push away, I'm going to be able to shut the technique down or create some space or whatever. It doesn't just, you don't just necessarily have to nicely frame across the shoulders. You know, you can get a hand right on the side of the head. Just keep your fingers out of their eyes or their nose or their mouth. You know, you can get under the chin. We talk about using the chin as a lever, like with shoulder pressure. The same thing goes. We're not striking them with the butt of our hand, but, you know, make your contact, extend their face away. That can often be an even more effective frame than just, you know, a stiff shoulder frame. Same thing with like grabbing hands. That's another technique. I think I've talked about that a little bit, but like you obviously can't grab single digits, but if you grab the knuckle line, you can disrupt a grip almost as effectively as grabbing, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 fingers to peel a grip off. You just kind of have to get your thumb in there and then grip the knuckles, and it's perfectly legal and much more effective than just grabbing a wrist. Quit my job, found a new place to train. 101st semester is a sweet deal. Awesome, man. I'm happy to hear it turned out well for you. What happens under the turtle stays under the turtle. That's great. That's we should paint that on the wall at the school. I'll run that by Bertram, see if he approves. Guillotines. Another purple belt flew. Yeah, the purple belt was like, oh, someone here is hitting some stuff. Better go play the enforcer. That's good. How is the college jiu-jitsu talent? Do you have some pretty stiff competition there for training? So this is great. And also, like, one thing you can't see in this video, and I think we talk about it every once in a while with competitions, the skill of just listening to your coach. You know, Peters was standing behind me too, yelling out some stuff that was coming to his mind that wasn't coming to mine. And I think this was one of those cases where he's talking about standing up. He's like, get back to standing, because we all know how Caleb's game is from standing. He's very effective at it, especially against probably a more tired opponent. So from this turtle position, we saw the Makikomi not work, which Caleb loves to hit, but now we have a feeling that it's probably not going to be as effective. So now it's, hey, let's sit out, stand up, work from standing. So this guy has no connection. He's not trying to get a knee in. He doesn't have his hands in a closed loop. And then good quick stand up, reach over the back. Love it. Let's see, please. I think I got, okay. It looks like his opponent tried to pull him down and maybe hit like a kind of a sumigeshi sort of like continuation, but he didn't have a hook in. Caleb had a nice hand on his face there. And now Caleb gets to play from top position. So takedown, quick guard pass. Guy turtles up to deny points. Caleb gets the advantage. So now this is where we talk about, I think Caleb, we haven't gone over this yet, but yes, this is starting to get the breakdown. Let's see. I think you're starting to work it. Yeah, I want to see the left knee driving in, and I want it pointing towards the hips. It's not enough to point across the body. I want it pointing in towards the feet. And then from there, if you didn't step that leg out, you could start to take him over with like the power half, knee pinch the leg, take him over. Play your wrestlers. Yeah, I feel like that's one thing you're probably going to benefit from a lot at a college gym, is you're going to have a lot more wrestlers. And then just like your average Joes coming in wanting to see if they can hang. So you get to have a little fun with them too, I imagine. So now this is a battle for breaking down turtle. Looked like maybe there was a Kimura attempt, like a thought of a Kimura at least. So there Caleb's doing good to listen. Trying to get ideas for breaking this one down. Get reset to the middle. Yeah, a Darce on any of these boys is going to be a tall order, given the broad shoulders. Not that it's impossible, but see, this is where a power half would have been really, really good to use. So from here, if Caleb got his right forearm on the back of his opponent's head and established his gable grip on the left side of his opponent's head, so this arm would reach through and kind of over the head, the right arm would be behind the head, and he could establish his grip. But his opponent does a good job here trying to hit the sweep. This is such a dogfight. And then he messed up because he don't know that Caleb's been playing with footlocks. So his opponent decides, I'm not going to try to pass anymore. I've been ignoring 50% of the body. Caleb says, cool, go for it. So now my biggest concern here was, okay, get your straight ankle, make sure you fall to the right side. So if he goes for this, Caleb's going to have to fall towards his right to make it legal, which he does. He lays that pig on. There you go. Gets the straight ankle. Really, really well-earned finish. That was such a scramble, such a fight. I was very, very happy for Caleb. I was probably jumping out of my seat at that point. Fantastic. And then this was, I can't remember if this was for silver or gold. I think this was the gold medal match. And this guy was working a lot of foot sweeps too. He really liked his foot sweeps against an earlier opponent. So yeah, takedowns, if they're happening, if nobody's on the mat and you go out of bounds, you don't get to keep those grips. Just keep that in mind if you do what I say earlier and argue for your grips. It's only when you're like in a position on the ground, that's where you get to reestablish what you had. So they have to start neutral standing. And his opponent has a good stand-up game here too. I mean, he's throwing a lot of stuff at him. Almost went into the table there. But we see him doing a lot of work up top. Let's just check this out. So tries to hit a throw by, kind of a weak throw by. I don't think he was necessarily going hard for it, and then reaches down on the single, like the high crotch single, and powers through to get Caleb on his back leg to make that front leg light, and gets the single leg takedown into close guard. Really good movement from his opponent. And everything about how his opponent's moving right now, and even like that grip he just did, tells me this kid has some wrestling experience. This deep grip, kind of a claw grip. I can't remember if they call this a claw grip or what they call it in wrestling. But this is, a common way wrestlers try to establish pins, or I shouldn't say a common way. One of the many ways wrestlers like to establish a pin, get the back exposure to the mat. So good effective wrestling from his opponent here. So we're gonna have to rely a lot on playing from, or Caleb's gonna have to rely a lot on playing from his back, getting his opponent as much under his control as he can, and maybe possibly attacking legs. His opponent seeming to look for the Kimura. And it's, I would say, more of an example of using the threat of a submission to establish a pass. Trying to hit the Makikomi again. I think this opponent's a little bit more ready for it, though, than the other one. Caleb almost had that move on the previous opponent. I think it really was like a weight issue with getting that opponent to roll over. Just about in an armbar threat. And then looking for the Orimiashi here. This was a very, very tense moment. I was, again, throwing my voice at that point. This is really, really good. I know it didn't totally pan out, but he gets his opponent's hands to the mat, which when entering into legs from a position like this, like when you're on your back, it's pretty crucial for you to get your opponent's hands to the mat to open up these opportunities. I believe that's time. Is it? Oh, no. Just a reset. So this is a little dangerous, having the arm between the legs. Obviously, there's like, you think about triangles right now. You got the head and the arm isolated. you know, the threats there are that, one, you have a triangle. Two, the other arm that wasn't in there is kind of on its own now. So if he goes for, you know, Kimura and Americana, it's going to be much, much harder for you to turn to it and defend it when your arm is between his legs, when, you know, your non-attacked arm is between his legs. Dirty stash. I think you could pull it off. I feel very confident that maybe you have pulled it off, and you probably should do it again. So his opponent's settling into mount now. Going to start looking for underhooks here. Setting up for a ghost escape. I don't see his opponent doing too much throughout this entire match to really try to work too many submissions. Here he finally gets an arm isolated and goes to set it up. But prior to this, his attempts were fairly minimal. Looking to the clock, checking time. And he wears it out on points. So definitely racked up a good score on that one. Again, you know, it's always like the consolation prize for me if I lose a match, but I didn't get subbed. You know, it's at least I can tell myself that to feel better about it. But really, in all honesty, Caleb wasn't doing anything super. Like he wasn't making big mistakes as he was moving around. We saw a lot of turtling up to try to avoid guard passing points, things like that. Very strategic, but not any real lazy movement. And also against a very good wrestler, you know, opponent with a wrestling background, which I feel safe to say that's the case here. So well fought match all the way to the timer. And then now this is Caleb's match in the absolute division. So I don't recall too much about his opponent here. This match is a little bit longer. We got an 8-minute match, and under Newbreed, they treat it like an ADCC match. So the first 4 minutes, or the first half of the match, are no points. That is to encourage submissions, right? You're not going to get points. You just need to like hunt for submissions, or you can stall for 4 minutes if you want to be a jerk about it. The second half of the match, points are active, and it's, you know, standard points that you know. So a little bit of strategy and tactics to keep in mind as you're nearing the 4-minute mark. If you want to, you know, if you're in a position to almost pass or almost take the back, you don't want to pass until you get to the points time, because then you can immediately, you know, stick your hook in or knee cut or whatever, and you get points. So makes it a little bit harder. You got a little bit more to think about for these matches. And the first Makikomi to work that day. But again, unfortunately, no points, but it puts his opponent on his back and can let Caleb get to work for a little bit. Seeing him pick those knees out like he does to me whenever I try to turtle up underneath him. Gotta win that scramble. one one big thing that I think Caleb, you can work on is the entire turtle position, offensively and defensively, because there's a good chance you're going to see guys at your weight class and in the absolute division playing that game, when necessary, to deny points, to be super defensive so as not to get submitted or passed or whatever, but also attacking from there, right? We saw you do a really good job earlier of timing essentially a sit out. You stood up to it instead of sitting through, and then managed to take a top position from there. This started to look pretty nasty, or at least for a second. I thought he had a real strangle here, but Caleb wasn't phased. The biggest thing to do here is look into your opponent's ribs. It's gonna suck, and you'll get your nose smashed, and it'll be uncomfortable. But north-south strangles are fairly easy to shut down, even if it's a little uncomfortable while you're doing it. But yeah, adding to, your Maki-Komi roll, throwing knee bars into that, which, Mike and Luke are great people to talk to about that. Having maybe 3 or 4 different ways of breaking the turtle down when an opponent turtles up against you. You really want to work on that too. I mean, this guy's trying to stick his foot into a very small gap here. If his opponent had practiced penetrating with the knee instead, he might have been a little bit more effective there. Caleb's playing a very, very tight turtle position, so it's very difficult for him to establish grips here. He's holding the waist and putting weight on Caleb's waist, trying to prevent him from moving, but he's not thinking about pulling Caleb towards him and getting him off balance, making Caleb's base have to open up, or he rolls. And that's an opportunity when his base opens up to start either sticking the foot in. It becomes a little bit easier at that point, or sticking the knee in, which I still think is the best way to do it. Looking for the half Nelson there. His opponent really likes digging arms out too to open up the turtle, which is working for him. I think that's just an advantage. Another roll. So now his opponent, he's got this like rear crucifix, but yeah, it's in that switch there where he has to open his legs to either set up a triangle or move to the back. That's kind of what we were waiting for Caleb to get out of there and get safe. And we are into points by now. Well, I guess that's obvious with the ref's hand signals. That was an interesting turtle breakdown he did. He's got the leg trapped. He's got one leg trapped between his legs, and then he uses kind of a thigh pry to get Caleb to his butt. Which again, this guy may have had some wrestling experience too. At this point, he's really focusing on controlling Caleb by the legs while he plays turtle. This blew my mind. I did not expect to see this coming from Caleb. There was a brief attempt on an armbar there. Had Caleb been able to elevate his hips and come around, he would have had a nice armbar setup. something to work with. I think his opponent's really stalling right now. For what it's worth, it does take a lot of energy to break down Turtle over and over and over again for 4 minutes, certainly against a big opponent. But he's being pretty inactive right now, or at least he was. Now he's a bit on the offense. Transitioning to Neon Belly, racking up some more points. I wish I could remember the score of this match. I think it was actually pretty close by the end of it. They may have even switched at one point. Yeah, I don't recall. In any case, Caleb lost this one on points. That was a tough match. I completely forgot ahead of this that Absolute had 8-minute ADCC rule. The ADCC like timing rule set and all that. So that was a bit of a curveball, but I think Caleb adapted well to it. He wasn't terribly gassed by the end of it. I think he had a better gas tank than his opponent. In any case, Caleb, I already said, man, I think we really need to prioritize what to do offensively and defensively from Turtle, and then continue working on the stuff you're good at. Like I said with Austin, we know where your strengths are. There's no reason to stop progressing with those. So working on your stand-up game. I think continuing to play with leg locks as you've been doing. We saw that work to your advantage in your first match. So tightening up on those is going to be a good thing to do too. But Turtle's going to be the big thing, offensive and defensive, to play with. So on to our last set of matches. We had Cole in Expert 202. This was his only opponent in the weight class, so we see a best of 2 match, or best 2 out of 3. His opponent immediately sits to guard, so we could probably deduce from that he's going to want to play a leg game, or he has some really good sweeps or something that he wants to try to hit. So Cole immediately starting off with a tight passing approach, getting heavy chest-to-chest pressure. I can't tell if he has an underhook or not. We'll see as he comes around. I think he does. Well, he gave it up if he did. But his opponent staying square and doing what he can to keep his guard in. This is where his opponent's game starts to come to light. We're going to see through these next 2 matches digging on deep half, and then when Cole goes to crossface, his opponent is going to switch to a shoulder crunch, and it's going to require Cole to pull the arm out. When he pulls the arm out, his opponent can dig in on legs again. So he's playing this dilemma both ways. Doesn't get too many effective reactions out of Cole when he's playing it though. So from here, the real goal for Cole is to get is to beat the knee shield, right? It's no small feat, and there are plenty of ways to do it. Here, his opponent lets the knee shield slip out. So Cole has an opportunity. His opponent just does a really good job re-guarding. Let's do this one more time. So heavy head pressure, leg slips out. So he fishes the butterfly hook back in, and then actually switches to the other leg. Or, almost switched to the other leg. The way I was thinking, like switching into cross ashi. Now instead he comes off the shoulder crunch sweep, gets the ankle grip, and then inverts into an arimi ashi position. That allows him to dig on the heel hook and get the heel hook finish. So we saw a switch from the legs where first, he was really focused on, actually, I don't know if I could say a switch on the legs. He would have been trying to set up an Irimiyashi the same way. So I take that back. He didn't switch on the legs. He just managed to like re-guard. He sat Cole back down and was able to get the ankle, which is really what he's going for the whole time. Anytime he's digging deep half, like we see him doing earlier. Where's a good spot? Like digging on the leg here. He's looking to get Cole's leg extended and to be able to control his ankle. So this is the leg he eventually comes back to after Cole just about gets around the knee shield. So sits him to his butt, elevates, I said it earlier, gets the hands planted to the mat, and that allows him to focus on lighter legs that he can attack. And then, for here, let's see, because in real time it's hard to see the defense for this is right. Cole has his heel exposed. He turns with it, which is good. It looks like he's trying to get the other leg in play to disrupt the grip. But it may have, it's hard to say here with, without having a guy cranking on my knee in the same manner. If Cole could have continued the roll, he may have found himself another opportunity to escape that leg lock. You kind of have to keep it going if you're not playing a more seated direct approach with like kicking, using your free leg to kick the other leg free, disrupting the elbow that's on the trapped leg. Continuing the roll is typically how you'll see guys try to get out of this. So good adjustments from his opponent. Good thing about that, it was a quick match. Didn't have to burn too much energy. So now they're on to their second one, and his opponent takes the same approach. So we talked about that after that match and tried to make some adjustments. It's a little bit easier to handle it once you know exactly what the guy's game is going to be. So again, reaching for the deep half. Cole's establishing underhooks, trying to get his body locks, which he does here. This is great. Like, this is a serious attempt at a body lock. He's got to step over his opponent's right knee. It's going to be a lot easier though if his opponent is on his hip and not on his butt, right? If he's off to the side, it's easier to clear that knee as opposed to sitting straight up. So now his opponent's created space. You could see him going deep half, shoulder crunch, deep half, shoulder crunch. And now Cole's looking to, when he can't get the body lock, you'll see him trying to pressure the knees together just like that in an attempt to get behind them. So pinning the legs together, kind of that Khabib smash pass, leg smash approach. The other way to or one of the other ways to work with this, there are a bunch of ways to work with this, but you've got that pressure style of passing that Cole's been employing. You could disengage and take a looser approach, working Toriano passes, knee cuts, working from a split squat stance, which is really how I prefer to do this, because I'm not body locking and pressure passing anybody. And then just working from half guard as well. If you could force this guy into a standard half guard position, getting that butterfly hook out and getting to a heavy chest to chest position, that's another way to play against this game. So on the straight arm there for a second. Nothing too serious. He was a little low on the elbow. It's funny. I think this guy really I think he would have liked to have made use of those straight arms, but they just completely unfazed Cole. So it was kind of pointless. Sitting up to a butterfly guard now. She hadn't really done before. Looking for a butterfly sweep. If he can load Cole's hips up over his, would have tried to sweep him to the left, but now he's just going back to the game he wants to play. So his opponent is, I'm trying to think here, other ways that Cole could have approached this in the moment. I don't know if standing would have been the best approach to take. I don't know. It would have been another option for him to use, but I feel like they would have just ended up here. Like his opponent's really, he has a very specific game he wants to play right now. Just about got the leg. So now he's playing a more traditional half guard. And almost into a like a kind of a stack pass there. Not really a stack pass, just kind of a heavy pass from that leg up over the shoulder. And judging by the conversation we had with his opponent after the match, I think starting to get a little tired here. You saw a big sigh from him there. Settling into close guard now, especially towards the end of a match. Typically a sign that someone's trying to catch their breath a little bit. Not that Cole's in an especially safe situation right now, just depending on how he plays close guard. So digging on the leg again from close guard, though. This is going to lead into openings for arm bars, pendulum sweeps, things like that. But with Cole coming down to the side like this, I don't know. I don't think we get a shot of the clock. Okay, 20 seconds left now. So his opponent has him in an omoplata threat right now. So he's got that arm tied up. Not really in any significant danger. Even here, Cole's hips get higher than his opponent's head at this point. His opponent can't get his hips on the ground and like scoot it out to his right, like in this direction. That's where you're going to start to see the omoplata threat set in. So Cole's able to roll out of this. He comes up into close guard, and the ref awards 2 points for the sweep, and then time runs out right at the end. So we had a, let's see if I can find that clock again. We had a 0-0 draw, 0 advantages, 0 penalties, and then 2 points scored right in like the last 10 seconds of the match to give this one to his opponent. So this was a real dogfight. I think Cole adjusted very well to the initial game, and his opponent was super cool, very friendly guy. But yeah, this isn't a dig at his opponent, but kind of one-dimensional game. Like just as far as he had something that he wanted to work and he was intent on working it, that gave us an opportunity to advance, or I'm sorry, to adjust and come at him in a different way. He still got the W though, so good fight all the way around. And everybody, that whole day was really, really awesome. I think we learned a lot of lessons. I think all of you learned some stuff you want to work on, holes in your game, all that good stuff, which is the best thing you could ask for if you're going to take an L in any of your matches. So I don't know who else is with me, but thank you for sticking around as long as you did. I hope you guys got a lot out of this, especially our competitors. And I hope you appreciate the brand new emoji for all subscribers. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, we're back at it again, though. Back to, what is it? We're finishing up legs this week, so make sure you're at class for that and brush up on your leg attacks. Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Oh my God. You're gonna abuse that emoji to the point where I'm getting rid of it. Jameson. Yeah. In any case, follow us here if you're not. If you're looking in the chat, subscribe if you support what we're doing. We really, really appreciate it. You can also support us at coffee.com/mobjj and over at YouTube, where subscribing is free and it really helps us out when you do it. So looks like you guys are digging the emojis. You got to use the Mooresville thumbs up, dude. That's unless you're not a subscriber, of course. Remember I don't think you were here, but that's Joe's dislocated thumb. If you never heard the story about that. In any case, yeah, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll put this up on YouTube for all the competitors to go review if they want to see their matches again and take notes and all that good stuff. So, man, if you got an Amazon Prime, it's easy enough and it's free. So I'll grab your cell phone from you and do it for you. Just give me your mom's credit card and I'll get you subscribed. Anyway, I will see you guys back at class. Be sure to trim your nails and do your laundry and don't be stinky. And we'll see you on the mats. Take it easy, guys.